Atari 2600 console debuted in 1977 and quickly became a huge success. It was one of the first systems to use cartridges, and for the first time, anyone could play games at home that were originally designed for large arcade machines. Let's take a look at a few classic games. First, Space Invaders, the title that helped make the console so popular. You control a spaceship and shoot down waves of incoming aliens. The console was produced in millions and had many clones. This was possible thanks to its affordable price. It had just 128 bytes of RAM and up to 4 kilobytes of ROM per cartridge. Keep in mind, memory was very expensive back then. Atari used several clever tricks. The console did not need a frame buffer. While the electron beam was drawing each line on the TV screen, the CPU had to stay in sync and update the graphics hardware in real time. Most of the game logic was calculated when the electron beam was outside the visible area of the screen. The next very popular game is Pac-Man. You eat dots while avoiding ghosts in a maze. However, this version became a symbol of disappointment. The arcade port was so poor that many fans were let down. Atari produced millions of cartridges and some of them ended up unsold in landfills. Anyway, even though the era of 8-bit computers like ZX Spectrum, Atari XL and Commodore 64 arrived soon after, offering much greater capabilities, the Atari 2600 remained a legend for years. It provided countless hours of entertainment to the younger generation of the 70s and 80s. The next big hit was Frogger. The goal is simple: cross to the other side without dying. The Atari 2600 version is considered one of the better arcade ports. It's also worth mentioning the catchy music. You can still buy the console today, often at a very low price, because it was produced in millions and had many clones. Alternatively, you can use an emulator like Stella to play games. River Raid is a true classic that remained popular even on later 8-bit systems. The game used procedural generation, which made the gameplay feel surprisingly rich. Donkey Kong was another well-known arcade title, although the Atari 2600 version is not that impressive. Escape from the Mindmaster, a rare and interesting game, one of the few on Atari 2600 with a first-person perspective and a 3D maze. Quite impressive given the hardware limitations. Enduro. Finally, a game with a unique twist. The weather changes, night falls and fog appears during gameplay. It's fast-paced and engaging. I wonder if creators of the Lotus 2 game were inspired by Enduro. Is it worth going back more than 40 years to the early days of gaming? I think so. It's not just a piece of history, it's still fun, and a great example of how much could be achieved with very limited hardware. I hope you found this interesting. See you next time.